Good Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to GardenStateWeather.com and GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, providing superior forecasting for the northern mid-Atlantic region 24 hours a day. I'm forecaster Robert Smith, and you do want to be mindful this morning. There are numerous accidents on many of the interstates and smaller roads as people are making their way out this morning to their morning commutes. Some schools are closed today, so that's going to be a little bit better for traveling this morning, but you want to be mindful and careful stepping out your door onto the tarmac and the parking lots because they are quite icy and quite slippery and dangerous this morning. This is the video forecast discussion for Tuesday, the 16th of February 2016. Well, the snow forecast panned out pretty good, relatively speaking. There were a few areas that received a couple of more inches of snow here across northwestern New Jersey over the higher terrain, but generally about 1 to 2.5 inches of snow fell across most of the forecast region, a little bit less as you headed towards the coast and towards Philadelphia, and then you really had to get south of I-95 here into the Delmarva, into the I-95 corridor, before you started to pick up some heavier snows here throughout the Washington, D.C. area and also portions of Virginia. Now, as far as ice goes, there has been numerous accidents being reported this morning and some slippery road conditions as well. And we're just beginning the morning, so there's not too many commuters on the roads yet, but still there's numerous accidents, and we've seen them on the webcams themselves. This is the ice that has accrued across the forecast region, anywhere from a tenth to 20 hundredths of an inch along 78 here into the Poconos and along Interstate 80 here. And so far over the last 24 hours, we did the snow reports here already. Over the last 24 hours, as we've transitioned over to rain, we had 30 hundredths of an inch of rain around the coast, the I-95 corridor, a little bit less here in Cape May, Atlantic County here, and the wall of rain is really beginning to fill across central and western Pennsylvania, and it's sleeting too across this region. We'll get to the observations in a moment. This wall of rain that's developing in this area here will be spreading east during our region, into our region during later this morning, right through the afternoon hours. Watches, warnings, and advisories. A lot of these over the interior, the winter weather advisories, are all going to expire across northwestern New Jersey, into the Poconos area, and into southeastern New York, the lower Hudson Valley area. All of these going to be expiring between 7 and 10 a.m. The further up through Poughkeepsie and Kingston and up to Albany at 10 a.m. In Connecticut here at 9 a.m. Southern Connecticut here into Newburgh and Middletown by 7 a.m. this morning. We have a coastal flood advisory for central Long Island here until 6 p.m. this evening. Coastal flood advisory until 8 p.m. for the South Shore and east ends of Long Island as well. Gale warnings until 10 o'clock tonight along the coastal waters from the harbor into the Sound here, into Long Island Sound, and all the way out to the east end. And for New Jersey, gale warnings until 11 p.m. this evening. And taking a look at the morning observations, quite a difference in temperatures. We've got temperatures already climbing into the upper 40s around the urban centers of New Jersey into New York City, and they're already in the low 50s here across central and southern New Jersey and the coastline, with strong southeasterly winds gusting to better than 25 miles per hour. Also, these strong winds are beginning to backbuild into Long Island Sound, with gusts here into the upper 20s and lower 30s, and this is why we're having a coastal flood advisory for these areas during this afternoon's high tide cycle. Meanwhile, we've got freezing rain that's left over here across central Pennsylvania, light rain back building in through the Poconos, and the wall of rain just increasing to our south and west, riding over the top of the snowpack that we had very little of it yesterday. And we've got dense fog across many areas this morning with visibilities less than 2 miles, and in some cases less than a mile across central and eastern Long Island this morning. On the aviational weather deck today, it's pretty bad out there. We've got limited IFR, MVFR, and IFR conditions this morning, and low clouds and fog. Otherwise, generally MVFR and IFR conditions today. Periods of rain could be moderate to heavy starting late this morning and continuing into the afternoon. Southeast winds mostly 10 to 15 knots, possibly locally higher in gusts, turning southwest in the afternoon. Low-level wind shear expected for a while, and southerly low-level jet near 65 knots moves across the region. For tonight, generally MVFR. Wednesday through Friday, mainly VFR, gusty afternoon winds at around 20 knots. Friday night, light rain or light wintry mix across the north may affect the area and may result in some sub-VFR conditions. And then Saturday, generally VFR, some light rain possible during the day, gusty afternoon winds at 20 to 25 knots. Right now, outside of Newark, it is 48 degrees already, and that's quite a difference from the last 72 hours where temperatures were at zero. There's a 55-degree jump up in temperature there. Dew point 46, humidity 93%. The wind is southeast at 5, visibilities are 5 in fog, and the ceilings are at 18,000, but they're all the way down to 200 at this time as well. And we're expecting moderate to heavy rain to move into the region with limited visibilities during this afternoon and gusty winds. Right now, outside of Philadelphia, we are in basically at VFR at the moment, 55 degrees, dew point 47, humidity 74%, and the wind is southeast 16, gust to 24, visibility at 10, and we're expecting moderate rain to move through the region during this afternoon. Now, there also remains a threat for urbanized and poor drainage flooding at times this afternoon with some heavy rain. The storm drains that are blocked by snow, ice, and debris, poor drainage, street flooding is still possible. 1 to 1.5 inches of rainfall, possibly up to 2 inches in some areas falling on top of the snow, could make for efficient runoff and cause some localized flooding, especially across the northern two-thirds of the area. Areas across the southern third may not get as much rain, only a half of an inch to 1 inch. There will also be a sharp rise on our local creeks, streams, and rivers. However, none of the forecast river gauges are expected to get to a flood stage at this time. GFS forecasted charts into the future. Here comes the moderate to heavy rain with our area of low pressure moving up west of the Appalachians here through central New York and Pennsylvania with moderate spokes of moderate downpours throughout the afternoon and evening as the cold front comes through late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Some colder air building in behind it. Another smaller disturbance here in the southern flank moves off the coast. Generally drier conditions and somewhat cooler air moving into the forecast region after temperatures today in the 40s and 50s. That's going to feel quite refreshingly changeable again by tomorrow as high pressure begins to build in through the forecast region on Wednesday and Thursday with rather benign weather, but much chillier temperatures again because notice the thicknesses here are dropping to 522 and 528 respectively. So that is some chillier air back into play again. Comes the next weather system here on Friday afternoon and Friday evening. Could be enough to cause a little bit of a wintry mix or even some just some light rain around the region. Friday night, early Saturday morning, there'll be some slick spots as warmer air is trying to build in across the forecast region at the same time. That low scoots into southeastern Canada and just west to east flow across the region. Not terribly cold for this time of the year either, but those changes are on the way. I'm going to get into a little bit more of a relaxation pattern as we head into early next week. Somewhat near normal temperatures are expected over the forecast region, and nothing unusual there. And then another system digging in across the southeastern states moves up with a warm front first across the region on Monday night and early Tuesday, spreading a swath of light rain into the forecast region. And that rain then becomes moderate to heavy across the region as isentropic lift continues into Tuesday and Tuesday afternoon. Some of this could be on the leading edge where high pressure is being blocked across the northeast. We could have a northeasterly wind here, and that component can actually change some of the precipitation to wet snowflakes or even wet snow across the region on Tuesday night and Wednesday. We'll have to monitor this. Here comes the low up the front, up the coastline now, and moderate to heavy rain falling across the coastal plain, moderate to heavy snow somewhere near the north of 78 here down the I-95 corridor and across northwestern New Jersey and points north and east of there. So we'll be monitoring this situation. This could be our next winter weather maker across the region. This storm begins to deepen quite substantially, and by Wednesday we could have a bona fide snowstorm across most of the forecast region. This will give you an example of the 6C run this morning, forecasting anywhere from now through next Thursday of 23 inches of snow across northwestern New Jersey, Bergen, northern Passaic, and northern Morris County here. Looked at last night's run at 0Z, totally the opposite. We had precipitation totals here under a foot in these locations here. So this is a very volatile forecast going forward. I wouldn't use any of these numbers at the present time. And the Canadian GEM model shows the same kind of scenario where we're picking up quite a substantial amount of snow by next Wednesday and Wednesday night. Checking out what a southeasterly wind will do ahead of a strong cold front, notice temperatures falling back into the 30s in Pennsylvania, where temperatures rising into the upper 50s in the New Jersey, New York City metropolitan area for today. By the time we get into tomorrow, temperatures are going to be much cooler. Temperatures dropping down to near normal levels in the low to the mid 40s. across the forecast region as the cold front and rain shield exits the East Coast. And by Thursday, temperatures fall back again into the 30s across the entire forecast region. As we head into Friday, temperatures begin to modify just slightly around normal levels, upper 30s, low to mid 40s across the region. The weekend doesn't look bad. Temperatures by Saturday afternoon and evening climbing back up nicely into the low and mid 50s once again across the forecast region, and that should last pretty much until Sunday as well. Temperatures either side of 50 degrees as the graphic is coming up here. And by the time we get into next week, that's where everything begins to change. By the time we get to Monday, temperatures are still generally running in the 40s, but then big changes are on the way for the beginning and middle part of next week. And as of this broadcast this morning, we are already reporting accidents here on Route 23 in Wayne, and near Patterson here up 287. Here we've got accidents already, something brewing here just west of Hackettstown, and also on Interstate 80 near Blairstown. Again, all of these accidents being caused by the reduction of, well, actually some ice across the roadways and people not paying attention. So please be careful driving and walking out the door, into the parking lots, and in your vehicles this morning. So do be very safe out there today, and we'll of course monitor everything in live fashion on GardenStateWeather.com, GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and also, of course, our live 24-hour continual storm coverage is never stopping. It's always on all websites, including Facebook. I'm forecaster Robert Smith. You have a safe Tuesday. We'll be back in video form on Wednesday morning.